Welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It is 8 p.m. Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Hello, and thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are a part of the partnership between Happening Out Television Network and Hotspots Magazine. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. We bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our community.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome anchor FayWhat. She is a radio and television personality and has a popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate, and owner of Faye's Fur Family. Also, make sure to catch the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ plus morning show, Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern, online or your smart TV. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, people. How are you? Happy Wednesday. Happy to be here.
We are very excited about you. Look at my messy hair. We're very excited about you. Congratulations this week. Our print partner, Hotspots Magazine.
Oh.
Everybody's talking about what happened on this cover.
That there's girls on the cover of Hotspots? No way, no how.
Exactly. This is an amazing moment. We're going to show some images. I can't remember a Hotspots cover, frankly, there it is, that has a black man, a lesbian, and a trans woman on the same color.
Listen, and three beautiful individuals that did that cover. You know, Hotspots being our partner company, we love them. They made me feel so comfortable. And, you know, I'm a woman of a certain age. You know, I'm in my 40s and I have scars. I, you know, had a double mastectomy last year. I battled addiction. This is me, you know, no body shaming, no nothing, you know.
Picture.
I will never be a size 2. I am who I am. And then I get to share this with my sister, my chosen family sister, Shay Schaefer. I mean, look at how beautiful she looks. Like, she's stunning, she's flawless. And I got to be in these pictures with her. And I mean, look at Greg. Oh my God, a specimen of yumminess that he is.
Yeah, and what, do you remember Greg's last name?
Not a clue.
I'm sorry, but
listen, I'm lucky that I remember that I remember his first name. I was not looking at him for his name.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at. Well, congratulations to Hotspots Magazine. It is a great representation. Our entire group, Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, we're really proud to be associated with this this week. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And Dennis Dean, thank you so much for being such an incredible photographer. You know, he was a photographer, and you know, he just had a back surgery a couple weeks ago, Al, and he's there getting up on top of ladders, taking our pictures. He was incredible, and I mean, just
you know, I've got to get the plug in. The Hotspots offices in Oakland Park, on Main Street in Oakland Park. Hotspots and Happening Out Television Network have converted that space into an art gallery.
Yes.
And it's an art installation now, and it's curated by Dennis Dean. And we went to the opening.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And I didn't realize he took those pictures. Dennis, congratulations. They're stunningly beautiful.
And I have to say thank you to Dennis Dean and all the gay boys. You know, I did this thinking that I would get a little backlash, that I would get people saying, oh God, why would they put a girl on the cover? All I've gotten has been love. Love, love, love all around. So thank you.
I got to take the highlighter and on that sentence. How fantastic in our community that we have this representation in our brand with a black man, a lesbian woman, and a trans woman. That is our community in Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale in South Florida.
Whoop, whoop.
Congratulations. And then we also have Glenn and John.
And then we also have Glenn and John. Thank you, Hotspots.
But I think that is the first time they've ever had a woman on the cover.
I can't remember it. I know.
Because we had talked to them at one point for the bike ride, and I don't think we could use one of the pictures because it was a woman.
Yeah. Well.
But it wasn't me, Glenn.
No, it wasn't. No, and you've taken us very far. So thank you for doing that.
I mean, you, to quote my good friend Whitney Houston, you're every woman.
Well.
Wow. All right. Well, let's continue the show now. All right. We got news to tell.
We did 5 minutes.
We did. Thank you.
So that's the end of the show.
Right. We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right. Next up, let's welcome anchor John Hayden. John's been a journalist for 27 years and now works for several South Florida outlets, including SFGN, covering politics, arts, and the bar scene, mostly for the latest on Happy Hours. He spent much of his career covering the stupidity and scandals of Hollywood and interviewed nearly every big name in TV, movies, and music. John considers the time that he had to sit and interview Shirley MacLaine after she yelled at him as the scariest 4 minutes of his life. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Faye, and not to make the show all about you, but let's make the show all about you. You also killed it this last weekend at Gay Ojo. You were on Girls Central.
Yes.
You were killing it with the DJs up there, had the party rocking. I couldn't even get within 30 feet of you by the time the night was coming to an end because it was just so packed. Everyone was there. It was a great time, and you killed it. So thank you so much for a great weekend.
Thank you, John. Love you.
All right, let's move on and welcome Glen Weinzimer, founder of the Smart Ride, the second largest AIDS bicycle ride in the country and the only one of its size to donate 100% of the funds raised to AIDS service organizations. He also owns Bona Italian restaurants where they celebrate Give Back Mondays, offering a portion of all sales to a different charity each week. And the Happening Out crew managed to sneak in there this last Monday. It was really cool. Thank you so much, Glenn.
Absolutely.
Glenn, thank you so much for dressing up like one of your tables.
You're more than welcome. It was either that or a picnic. I didn't know because the weather's been so nice today. I thought maybe we were going to be outside, and we can always use my shirt as a little tablecloth.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if we're ever going to get to the news.
I don't think we are tonight.
It looks like it.
There is news. And it's been a great beginning so far.
Right.
And appreciate being back on the show.
Yes.
So, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, February 23rd. Today, by the way, is also National Hospitality Workers Appreciation Day. So thank you to every housekeeper and every server and everyone who's working so hard in the hospitality industry, especially coming out of this pandemic.
Yeah, are you good in hospitality?
I'm very good in hospitality.
Yeah. All right.
Are you asking me this is a personal or professional? This is
I'll think about that through the show.
Okay.
All right, let's begin by queering up politics. Senator Rick Scott has created today his own GOP agenda. He declares only two genders exist, and he wants a Trump memorial wall. Dear America, Florida's sorry. We know the infamous Florida man is a fun joke for all of you, but now one of them is in the Senate and having megalomaniacal delusions. Since Mitch McConnell refuses to release a Republican platform of his own for if the GOP takes control of Washington again, he hasn't prepared for that yet. Governor Voldemort himself, Rick Scott, has released, I won't tell the other joke, has released his own, his 31-page dissertation or manifesto, right, on why America is being destroyed, offers 11 policy points he would like to introduce. They not only include standard GOP talking points like decentralizing the U.S. government, but also some forays into pandering to the far right with social issues. Such policies include forcing students to say the Pledge of Allegiance and stand for the national anthem because we must foster national unity. That's a quote. They will also be taught that they must love America, and they'll be forced to, and that no class of people have been oppressed, and we'll educate that. He also insists that the government will finish the southern border wall, and you guessed it, we're going to name it after Donald Trump. He also vows to protect the American family, and part of that protection is by requiring all government agencies to only recognize binary genders and disallow people from transitioning completely because, quote, humans are born male and female, There are only two genders, and to deny that is to deny science, end quote. That's called gaslighting. Apparently, the GOP continues to not understand that science has shown that there are a minimum of 6 combinations of X and Y chromosomes that can exist in adults. Our friend Lord Baltimore.
I thought this was a joke. When I first read this, I was like, okay, this is some kind of meme or something like that, you know? Rick Scott, the same guy who used Medicare fraud to build his political empire, and he's doing something like this, and people are listening. People are actually listening to these 11 points like as, okay, yeah, let's do it. That's disgusting.
And like Al said, we were jumped in at the same time. It's a manifesto.
Yeah.
It's not it has dealing with reality at all. It's all back to that fake news. You know, science is science, and the fact that he's making these outright statements as if they're fact is just frightening.
Glenn, but people listen.
Well, that's what's so frightening about this.
And anybody who sees, you know, one or the other, and that's a GOP go-to, and that's kind of a natural human default. But anyone who refuses to see that there's more than A and B, it's the sign of a small mind. And national indoctrination is what it is. I mean, not national unity.
I'm curious, do you all think him declaring a GOP manifesto will be successful for him and for the GOP?
You know, we talked a little bit about this last night. You know, it's scary that people believe what they hear and don't do their own research or choose not to listen at all, so they don't know what's going on. We talked about the Don't Say Gay bill yesterday and how many people, shockingly, know nothing about the bill that's out there. And so if it passes, it may only be because we didn't speak up.
Just imagine that person in middle America just looking at a commercial that's saying, oh, okay, we have to get America back. Right. America's in a bad condition. All right, let's follow what he says, and they'll take his crap for fact.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I don't think this is really going to gain that much traction, to be honest. He's not a national figure on the scale of like Governor DeSantis or Mitch McConnell. And it's not like, if you can remember, Newt Gingrich's, 12 points to save America back in 1994. I just don't think it's going to get that much attention beyond this. And there's a reason, is that Mitch McConnell has not released his own plan, is because he doesn't have to. Midterms favor the minority, the out of power party. He doesn't need to, and I don't think he wants Rick Scott to say anything. I think he just wants to let the natural course of politics happen and restore the GOP to at least a majority in the House this fall.
You know, it's interesting. What do you think about the observation that Governor, or former Governor, Senator Scott, that our time that we've been going through in the last couple of years and that we're going through certainly right now is like the 1930s. And Adolf Hitler in 1932 was very much like Rick Scott. He wasn't the dominant voice. Over the next 5 years, he did become the dominant voice. And then when he became the powerful dominant voice, then all hell broke loose. I mean, what do you think about that? And that maybe Scott isn't DeSantis right now, but he's pitching to try to become that. What do you think about that?
Pitching to become DeSantis?
Well, like to become president, to run for president?
To become, maybe, philosophically, Adolf Hitler. Because he's advocating, for example, what's wrong with doing the Pledge of Allegiance? Until you make it mandatory. And the next logical beachhead of this manifesto is, well, how are you going to punish somebody for not doing it in school? We're going to figure out a way to punish it. And that's a logical, well, you should love America and you should be proud of America, so you should say the Pledge of Allegiance and sing the national anthem until you don't. And then the crazy becomes the crazy because they make you do it or they punish you. That's how it worked in 1932. That's how Adolf Hitler did it with the Jews.
Yeah. Yep. I'm 100% in the same ballpark as you. We talked about this before. It's chipping away slowly until it's not that big a deal. You look at Ukraine right now. They're supposedly not attacking all of Ukraine. They're just taking, Crimea or whatever, any of those little pieces. And so it's not that big a deal until you take a bigger chunk. And the same thing goes here when it comes to rights. You take away one, and what's the big deal to take away another? Let's not talk about it in school, so they're now not educated. So now we go back to sexual health. You're not taught about sexual health. You have an increase in HIV and AIDS. All those things have an increase and very powerful reaction to a decision that's made. It isn't just, it's no big deal.
Well, what's up in South Florida gay news?
Well, I'll tell you, as we queer up South Florida gay news, South Florida rallies against Don't Stay Gay and the Stop Woke Act. Now, it may be an exercise in futility, but more and more South Florida institutions are coming out against legislation targeting the LGBTQ plus community. In this week's SFGN, online now and on stands tomorrow, my colleague Christina Lilly looks at our allies standing up for us. The Fort Lauderdale City Commission and the Broward County School Board have passed resolutions condemning 4 odious bills, including the Stop Woke Activism Act, ooh, woke, and the Don't Say Gay initiative. Even President Biden, who, by the way, has a lot going on right now, took time out to deal with Florida's intransigent, gay-baiting GOP. Now, you can see exactly what they said in Christina's article at SFGN, as I said, online now, and on stands tomorrow. Now, will any of this stop the bills? Probably not. But it could energize enough voters to see the hate and stupidity for what it is and vote out Governor DeSantis this November. Remember, stop him here, and we may stop his presidential aspirations in their tracks. And I believe that. I mean, he won by, like, what, 20,000 votes or something 4 years ago?
I think 13,000.
13,000, okay, even closer. It can be done. Maybe not on a national level, but I think we can definitely swing the vote here if we all, damn it, just get out and vote and pay attention.
That's the key word, pay
So
attention.
important.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Next up, we queer up trans rights. U.S. Appeals Court to hear Florida transgender rights case. Yesterday, oral arguments were heard in Atlanta at the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in the case of Andrew Adams, a trans man who is suing the St. Johns County School Board of Florida for not allowing him to use the boys' bathroom when he was in school. The arguments were heard by the full panel of circuit judges in Atlanta, usually reserved for cases of special constitutional importance. A decision in the case, which could come later this spring, could affirm transgender rights rulings by other federal appeal circuits, or could propel the case to the U.S. Supreme Court for a showdown over transgender civil rights.
What do we think about the appeal? Do we think it's good, first off, that it's being picked up?
Well, it hasn't been picked up by the Supreme Court yet, though.
No.
Right.
No, it has to go through Atlanta first for it to.
Appeals.
Right.
Court.
Well, and it's been since 2017, so we've already been dealing with this for 5 years. The gentleman is now 22 years old. This happened when he was 17 and, a junior or senior in high school. And this has been dragging on, but they're going to use this case towards the other cases that are pending right now in Florida. So it's important that we watch out what happens with this in Atlanta.
There's an argument going on. I think several of the national LGBT advocacy organizations, especially focusing on trans, has said it's almost a lost cause to try to make it a focal point, because the bigger fish to fry are not in this kind of legislation, because ultimately we're going to lose. And there has been several op-eds talking about the issue related to it. We're going to report extensively tomorrow on the Supreme Court's decision to hear the court case of religious rights versus LGBT rights. And broadly, a big portion of that is on trans rights. So this is probably going to get to the same place. It's going to there's probably going to be victory on the bathroom. It's going to continue through district courts. It's going to set precedent. Then it's going to be heard by the Supreme Court. And then what happens in the Supreme Court is anybody's guess, but we probably have a pretty good guess of what's going to happen to trans rights. They have focused on several things that have been encouraging. But if the Supreme Court continues to have court justices that are extremely conservative, we know that the conclusion is going to worsen for the trans community and therefore the LGBTQ community.
Scary times.
All right, let's queer up politics. New poll shows LGBTQ people highly motivated to vote in midterms. GLAAD is releasing the findings of a first of an ongoing series of polls that gauge and track motivation, enthusiasm, and issues leading up to the 2022 midterm elections in November. The poll compares how motivated LGBTQ+ voters are compared to the 2020 presidential election. In a statement, GLAAD said, quote, LGBTQ voters provided the deciding edge for the pro-equality presidential ticket in 2020. This year, the elections are underscored by an increasingly hostile climate towards LGBTQ people in state legislatures across the country. Nearly 160 bills have been proposed in 2022, most, 91 of them, targeting transgender people and youth. And there's been a surge of anti-LGBT school policy bills, 60 of them, we just talked about one of them here in Florida, banning classroom conversation and books about LGBTQ people under the guise of parents' rights. Like Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, the poll found that 83% will definitely or probably vote in the 2022 midterms. 50% are extremely motivated to vote in 2022. This is driven by younger voters 18 to 24, representing 65%. With 48% more motivated to vote in the midterms as compared with the 2020 presidential election. It's
83% is very good for
Yes.
midterms, really. And you know why? Because we feel that fire in our culitos. All
Right.
those bills that are coming for us, all the trans rights that are going to be affected if a lot of these bills pass, we're afraid. So we're gonna vote. We're gonna get out
And
there
we
and
have
vote.
to tell our
It's the only
friends.
tool we have.
right.
And it's encouraging to see that the younger demographic, because they're the ones that are traditionally sort of overlooked because they don't vote. And if they're getting energized, hopefully, and you've said this a couple of times, like if we go move from 13% to 15% of the electorate, that it would dramatically shift the results in statewide elections.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have to remember that, as we go forward.
I'm curious in terms of this reporting. First, broadly, does it surprise you? Does it surprise you that GLAAD is reporting there's optimism of getting out the vote for the midterms? Did that reporting surprise you at all? The polling?
It does, in that we know people don't necessarily pay attention. So I think shows like this help raise that awareness of what's going on. I think the SFGN, hotspots, all of those play a significant role right now. I think it was big that right after we left here yesterday, I was listening to MSNBC on the radio, and they were talking about the Don't Say Gay bill as a major national issue because of the repercussions that will happen as a result if it passes. So, yeah.
I'd like to see the methodology, because a lot of times, it's GLAAD, so you wonder how they ask the questions, how it was phrased, things like that. I take it with the same grain of salt that I take when I see that Donald Trump is ahead by 43 points in the Red State Today morning consult poll or whatever, you know what I mean? So I'd like to delve in and see more about it. But like I mentioned in my story a little while ago, I can sort of start to feel a shift, at least down here in Broward and Miami-Dade, where a ton of votes are. So if you can feel a little shift, if there's some more awareness, a little activism, hopefully this poll will prove correct.
Well, and it gives us some hope. It gives us some hope that something could happen, because again, it's very scary times, and I know people personally that have said, I'm not going to go vote because what's the point?
Right.
I want to zero in, cycle down a little farther than what John just said. Is GLAAD's reporting reflective of here in South Florida? Your circle of friends, the politics. We have loads of advocate friends in LGBT advocacy, nonprofits,
Right.
etc. Here, prides, different kinds of organizations. Do you think the philosophy in our community here in South Florida mirrors GLAAD, or GLAAD does it? Do you go, I don't feel GLAAD's reporting here in South Florida?
I have mixed feelings. I feel that it does mirror us on some level, because we do have so many nonprofits and we have so many people that play a role in our community. The three of you are examples of it. Most of your anchors that are here that have a voice, that have a platform, and can get out and influence people. The key is for each one of us, whether you're as an anchor or just a person living in our community, to talk about these issues. Get your friends involved, because somebody has to be the tipping point. Somebody's got to be able to bring everyone else along. And if they just look for the headlines in the paper, they're not reading it. So how do you do that? It's each one of us saying to a friend, this is really important and I need you to pay attention. And unless we do that as a community, you're right, then we're doomed to fail. But we can easily change that if everyone who has the platform can influence a few more people, no matter how you do that, whether it be social media or a phone call or a text message or over lunch. But you can get people to do things. You just have to be able to get them motivated.
Yeah.
Do you think Gen Zers, do you think the 18 to 22, 23, 24, that they're going to come out in the midterms? They have no candidate. There's not an Elizabeth Warren, or there's nobody in the field that's going to be in the field that is generally like that. Are they going to come out to vote, or are they just going to go, I'm not doing
I sure hope so. They're the ones that are looking to our future. And I know that they blame us for everything that's happened in the past, but they're usually the ones that want to fix the future and make things right in the future. I'm more afraid for my age group. Like I said, I got mixed signals from the advocate friends of mine, but I also have my other friends that are really close to me and will say, what's the point, Faye? What is my point matter? And I'm literally just do it for me, okay? I'm going to pick up everybody and we're all going to go and do it, If it's just for me, just do it. All right, I will do stuff for you.
Do what the GOP has been so successful at, fear.
Fear.
You know, it's the fear motivates people to do things. They're afraid of the unknown. And so use that fear of what could potentially happen, because like we've talked before, one signature during the last administration, so many of our rights that we got could have been easily wiped out, erased by an executive decision. So
you'd be surprised how many folks in LGBTQ just don't watch the news, just don't think that it's about them, just go, and I'm not saying it's just rah, party, but their life just consists of their inner circle, their job, and their partying. They don't think about politics or government or any of that affecting them.
It's confusing to me when you say that. It's confusing to me that LGBT doesn't pay attention to what's happening on Roe v. Wade, and then not make the instant connection. If the Supreme Court will reevaluate Roe on settled law, it has been settled law for 40 years. That a conservative court wouldn't go, you know what we did in 2015? We made a mistake.
Let's take it back.
And let's take it back.
Yeah, you don't deserve to be married. And they could totally do that.
They could totally
That is the tool that I tell my friends, my married friends, that I will tell them, guys, your marriage will be dissolved if people get their way. Just for that aspect, to go vote.
And in our community, whether you're in Miami Beach or you're up here in Wilton Manors in this Oakland Park area, if we could get the businesses on the drive, because they have a big voice in their ads and everything else, if you got every one of those bars engaged and actually preaching to their clients, making a statement at the beginning or the middle of the evening, doing a quick little something on one of the screens that maybe we produce that just says, hey, you know, I hate to break up your evening for a second, but you need to hear this because this could happen. And maybe but we need to do, something needs to be done to wake people up and get to them where they are, and they are in the bars.
Yeah.
They are in the bars.
Right. So, you know, that they
You know, I just remind everybody, you know, I have my pulse on this, my finger on the pulse of this. All of the smart money in Florida on the DeSantis campaign and the Marco Rubio campaign and others, but those two specifically, both of those campaigns are looking to win by 1% or 2%. And both of their elections of cycles of governor and that U.S. Senate seat, Rick Scott's Senate seat, it was less than 1%. And so as a result, LGBT is tailor-suited to be able to deliver change in Florida and many other states too. It's a reminder to the people that are saying to you, nah, it's not worth it. You can't even utter those words out of your mouth because they're only looking for 13,000 people to win the Senate seat. That's how close this is going to be. And when you're dealing with every vote counts. And when we're watching manifestos come out of a U.S. senator the way we have just seen, we desperately need those 13,000 votes.
Every single vote?
Every single vote.
Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
Passero from American Idol, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, we finished tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus Flash News.
And I'm going to be the first to flash you. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has attacked the LGBTQ plus community 7 times. Next stop, the White House? The better question, only 7? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is so far up number 45's ass that he can taste the bad spray tan, has been pandering to the ultra-right zealots in hopes of getting elected president in 2024. It started with a subtle snub on the 3rd anniversary of the Pulse massacre, when, at the time, the new governor issued a statement on the event that had no mention of the LGBTQ plus or Hispanic communities that were the target of that attack. His agenda became more clear last year when DeSantis celebrated the first day of LGBTQ plus Pride Month by signing a law banning trans athletes from school sports. He's backed school policies that require schools to out students to potentially homophobic parents, and has fought to erase LGBTQ plus students with the quote, "Don't Say Gay" and "Stop Woke" Act. He has also shown that not only does the LGBTQ plus student mental health not matter to him, but he vetoed funding for therapy for Pulse survivors. What about the poor kids who end up homeless after being kicked out by their parents? Well, he made sure they're without resources as well, because he blocked a $750,000 grant for the Zebra Coalition, a nonprofit that assists LGBTQ plus youth who are living on the streets and helps them find housing. He has also removed anti-LGBTQ plus bullying resources from state websites and is currently pushing agenda items that ban books containing LGBTQ plus content from Florida schools. No wonder Trump loves him so very much. I mean, God, please kick him out of the governor's mansion, let him move down to Mar-a-Lago and live with the anti-pope of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. You don't even know what to say. He just needs to be voted out of office. He's just hateful and hurtful.
Well, compared to Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump will be the gayest president ever in American history compared to Ron DeSantis. He uses the LGBTQ community as cannon fodder, period. But you know what's even worse? He uses all Floridians as cannon fodder. And through the course of this year and then leading up to 24, what he's doing right now is to become president of the United States. He doesn't care about being governor. He doesn't care about Floridians. He has a much bigger agenda. And I just wonder if Floridians, the non-LGBT ones, are going to wake up to what he's doing.
What Al said. I hate DeSantis. I really do. I really think that he's way worse than Trump ever will be, and that's scary stuff to even digest.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus flash news. LGBTQ Nashville country music pioneers Lavender Country return. Country music isn't generally known being LGBTQ plus friendly, but as far back as 1973, there was representation in the genre, led by singer-songwriter Patrick Haggerty. Lavender Country recorded a country music album that unabashedly explored LGBTQ themes, becoming a landmark that would nonetheless disappear for decades, with songs like Back in the Closet Again and Come Out Singing, as well as the cult classic Crying These Cocksucking Tears. That bashes straight men. They celebrated activism and LGBTQ rights. Now, 50 years later, they have released their second album, Blackberry Rose and Other Songs and Sorrows. Maybe Lil Nas X will do a song.
50 years between albums, I'll be almost 80 by the time their third comes up.
Yeah. Back in the Closet Again is one of those songs which could become our state national anthem.
Yes, that's funny. Country music is interesting because growing up in the South, country music was redneck music. It gets a really bad rap today because it's so much more modern. Country music has really evolved out of Valdosta, Georgia. It's not that anymore. Valdosta still exists. Excuse me for shaming you, but whatever.
You got it coming.
Right. Country music is very involved. It's going to be very interesting to see how Lavender Country is responded to in this, because where they were in that first album and where they will be in their second is completely different. Bravo, by the way, for your representation. We'll be following you closely.
Can't you see it being featuring Lil Nas X with those three? Can't you see it remixed by Tracy Young? Can't you see that?
Right, with a remix by Tracy Young. You're funny. Those boys don't even know who Tracy Young is. Come on. All right, so LGBTQ plus flash news. Because of the gay, oh gosh, I love this story. Because of the gay agenda, a church now claims everyone will be gay by 2047. And they say that as a read. We say it is victory.
Yay!
Last week, Queer News Tonight reported on the new Gallup poll that shows that the number of people who identify as LGBTQ plus has doubled in the past decade. The response from the Universal Life Church is quite upset with this growing trend, and they apparently don't understand statistics, tweeting, quote, "Everyone in America will be gay by 2047, at least if current trends hold," end quote. Apparently this is another Republican attempt to use science in their reporting. Twitter user Joshua Kunkel summed it up best when he tweeted, quote, "I love that the takeaway is that gays have multiplied like gremlins, and not that more people are being honest and open about who they are," end quote. Of course, this is a complete bullseye. First, 20% of Gen Zers are identifying as LGBTQ. It's because they are not as fearful as Glenn and I was once upon a time. And even if that was not completely true, I agree with the church's premise. Everyone's going to be gay by 2047.
And you can totally trust the Universal Life Church. I'm actually ordained by them. That's how I've married various LGBTQ couples. So thank you, Universal Church. True statement. You're gay. You're gay. You're gay.
I mean, 2047, that's 25 years from now. I'll be almost 50.
Oh, geez.
The good news for Al and I is we'll probably just barely still be alive, but have enough dementia that we won't remember.
Yeah, we won't
any
care
of
about
and
gay.
We'll just assume everybody's gay just because we won't know better.
I was going to say or who cares about gay, because we won't be having
No.
well, wait,
Well,
you
I
won't be. I will.
Don't be so sure.
Enough.
Whatever. Okay, let's continue on. LGBTQ plus flash news. History as Kentucky elects first openly LGBTQ state representative. Democrat Keturah Herron overwhelmingly defeated Republican Judy Martin Stallard on Tuesday to fill an empty Kentucky House seat, making history as she becomes the first openly LGBTQ state representative in the state. Herron is a black activist, a former policy strategist at the American Civil Liberties Union of Kentucky. She advocated for the ban on no-knock search warrants in Louisville after the death of Breonna Taylor, a black woman shot and killed by Louisville police in 2020. Herron also successfully pushed for a state law enacted last year to limit the use of no-knock warrants. I think she's pretty amazing, and the no-knock warrant thing is huge because we just had another death recently where they just came barging in and killed people without even knowing whether they were armed.
You know why this story is so big? We're not talking about Connecticut or New York or Massachusetts or California. We're talking about Kentucky.
Yep.
It's deep, hard, red, religious, conservative South. It always starts with one. This person is history because it starts with one. Let me remind you, this is the state of Mitch McConnell. This is the state of white supremacy and had the highest percentage of slave ownership in America prior to the Civil War. This is the state where the commissioner in the county refused, even after the Supreme Court said you have to do it, refused to certify marriages in her county. Remember that national case? That's this state. Wow. Congratulations to you. Herron is a start, but a very good start.
Listen, getting the Breonna Taylor law passed is your ultimate legacy, and you have just only begun. You go, girl.
And also, I might remind you, about 70% of Louisville's population is trying to move to Illinois or to, oh wait, maybe not.
Not to Indiana. Don't go.
Don't
go.
I think it's bad now.
But no, I love this story. I'm glad to see Kentucky Democrats are coming along. And God, I just wish I could bottle Tucker Carlson's tears as he has to hear about this story.
His tears are in the bottle.
Savor it.
I poured over my head, but it'd kill but the audio guy would kill me.
Yes.
Yes, he would.
And your hair.
Oh, I can't mess
The
that up.
stylist would be crazy.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
It is important, especially if you don't like Tucker Carlson. And you can show it by helping us, by liking, and by subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share the news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast and the many groups you're a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the
I'm watching Glenn, right?
of your family. Oh, really? Oh. I love that shot, though, because that island was so much fun. I mean, think about it. I think there were like 4 men and 2 women. 3 women, but one of them is questionable. I don't know. I don't even know. Oh, so they deserve the attention of your family. And now we're going to... That was the end of what I was saying, because it is important to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Faye.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these type of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of the Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters and the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, John Hayden, and Glen Weinzimer, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. Before we end the show, however, we have one final story. Let's queer up politics. Charlie Crist talks to the LGBTQ plus community on upcoming Florida governor showdown against Ron DeSantis. Finally, tonight we have one more important story, and it's a story that affects LGBTQ lives in Florida. Florida has become ground zero over conservative actions against the LGBTQ plus community, including trans rights, schools and book bans over LGBTQ content, Our Children and Don't Say Gay, the Woke Act to allow parents to sue schools and teachers if their child is uncomfortable discussing gay pride or LGBTQ history, even facts over Pulse. This week, the author of Don't Say Gay and the Don't Say Gay bill tried to add an amendment that would have schools forcibly out LGBTQ children to their parents, even if it would destroy the child. So the November governor's race is incredibly important to the gay community. And tonight, we bring you an interview with former Republican Florida governor and now Democratic candidate, Congressman Charlie Crist. He spoke at the Florida LGBTQ plus Democratic Caucus called Turn It Up, Turn It Out. And he spoke before the largest gathering of LGBTQ political advocates this year in St. Petersburg, and then walked to our pop-up studio for my interview. We explore how he feels about Florida gaining national and international attention for the actions we are watching toward the LGBTQ plus community. Spoiler alert, part of his answer includes very sharp words for a candidate for governor. You get to see my interview first, and then his powerful speech before the LGBTQ community. Florida Governor, candidate Charlie Crist. Well, it's Al Ferguson with Queer News Tonight, and we are here at the Florida LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. And of course, this person needs no introduction, former governor of Florida, Charlie Crist, who is running for governor.
Yes, sir.
And we're very excited you've taken a couple of moments to talk to the LGBTQ community. Again, we appreciate how much effort you put in for LGBT. Let's talk about what's going on in Florida.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable what's going on in Florida. What do you think about where we're at?
Oh, well, I think we're being misled terribly. I think Governor DeSantis just doesn't understand, simple human dignity and treating others as you want to be treated yourself. And, they have this law, Don't Say Gay. It's just, I think it's horrific, and I think we can do better, and I know we deserve better.
Yeah. Congressman, we are in a pivotal time, and the LGBTQ community right now is kind of in a little bit of shell shock. I talked to you in the fall, and I don't think we really anticipated the attack that was going to come. We thought that moving beyond Donald Trump meant things were going to improve. We're here a year later, and things have actually gotten worse in the state of Florida. We report at Queer News Tonight that a fever in Florida is being exported all over the country, and it's really a fever of hate. From your seat and running for governor, what do you recommend to the LGBTQ community that should be done to help support and change this tide that we're watching?
It's a great question, Al, and I think it's really pretty simple. Just everybody needs to be engaged, to be involved, to make sure that all our friends are registered to vote, so that when November comes, we have the opportunity to really make a difference and make a change, and make Florida blue in 22.
You were governor of Florida, of course. We all remember those days. Your commitment to running for governor again, talking to the LGBTQ community, try to help explain to our community why you would make a great choice in the primary for Florida's governor.
Because I believe in a Florida for all. And when I say that, I mean for all people. And it seems like so much of today's Republican Party doesn't want to include all of us. And I think that's just wrong. And so I think we need a governor that has a heart, that has compassion, that has empathy and dignity. To all people in the Sunshine State. I tried to comport myself in that fashion when I was governor before. I certainly will do it again.
We are talking so much at Queer News Tonight about gaslighting. All of these hateful bills that we are covering in our news broadcast about book bans and don't make me feel uncomfortable in talking about our community, don't say gay, etc. We continue to try to challenge everybody that are bringing and defending these bills to give us examples that we can go into and evaluate what is happening in schools, etc. But we don't hear any concrete answers of where this is coming from. So if there isn't, why is this happening? Help us understand what it is that is trying to be accomplished in the time that we're watching now.
I can't explain what is unexplainable. I only know where my own heart is, and like yours, that we're good people. We try to treat everyone with civility and kindness and decency, and why other people don't want to do that is beyond my comprehension. I can't explain it.
Let me try to get you on the record. You are not running for president in 2024.
That is correct, yes. I'm running for governor in 22.
All right. I'm not sure that...
it's a good question and a fair one. I get it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Where do you think this is going to... where it's going to end up? I know the LGBTQ community, we're sitting kind of in a bit of shell shock right now, and we're trying to get ourselves back together of going, we've got to stand up to this incredible time that we're seeing. What would you say to the community in terms of helping bolster and encourage the LGBTQ community to come out and support in the way that they need to do?
Well, I would remain very hopeful. Most people are of good nature. Most people want to be kind to others and do unto others. I wear this yellow wristband, I don't know if you can see it or not, on my wrist every day, and it just says, practice the golden rule every day. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. It's a simple rule, but it's about respect, kindness, and decency. And so I would be hopeful. As I said, make sure all of our friends are registered to vote. Make sure we get out the vote this November. It's incredibly important. We need to turn, as I said, Florida blue in 22.
Congressman representing Florida and having been a former governor of Florida, I asked Senator Jones and Representative Smith today of the reporting that we are doing that Florida is really ground zero for this development of these kind of hateful things that we're seeing, and they're being exported to other places in the country. And really the entire country is watching Florida, internationally watching Florida, what's happening here. I asked them both the same question I'm curious your response to. How do you feel about the representation that Florida is getting nationally and internationally to propel these kind of messages that the whole world is hearing come out of Florida? What do you, as a Floridian for so long and representing, how do you feel about how Florida is being represented?
I'm embarrassed. I think it's such a shame that our governor seems to have this, fixation on being unkind toward gay people. not wanting to really help minorities, making it any easier for them to vote in our elections. Across the board, it's almost as if he goes to sleep one night and figures out what group can I go after tomorrow. And that isn't what we should have, being beamed around the world about Florida. Florida's a wonderful place with good people, with good hearts, and that's the kind of leadership we deserve. Again, that's why I'm running for governor.
I want to ask you one final question, which I think is important for our entire LGBTQ community. With what you're watching, what we're watching going on in Tallahassee, we did a workshop today where we had conversation about what the hell is going on in Tallahassee, and you have been front and center of that previously, now in Washington. How do you stay optimistic, like your band that you're wearing? How do you stay hopeful with what we're watching, and what should the LGBTQ community take from how you're able to get up in the morning and say, okay, we're going to fight again today?
What gives me hope is being here tonight. Being here at the LGBTQ caucus, interviewing with you, Al, and the great work that you do to get the word out about how important it is to never give up hope, to always hold fast to that. It's important that all of us, I think, have that kind of attitude in life, because when we have hope, it spreads to others, and that's what we need now more than ever.
Well, thank you for the time. We really appreciate you coming to the Florida LGBTQ Democratic Caucus and focusing some of your valuable time on our LGBTQ community.
Well, thank you
for doing it.
Thank you for what you do and getting the good word out to so many great people.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congressman Charlie Crist.
Pleasure. Our next speaker is a St. Pete native who is a proud St. Pete Green Devil graduate and a former quarterback of the high school football team. Our next speaker has served in the Florida Senate, was Education Commissioner for Florida, was Florida Attorney General, and was Governor number 44 of Florida, elected in 2007. Back as governor, our next speaker supported, and remember, he wasn't on our team then, but he really was. He supported President Obama's American Rescue and Recovery Plan, which he called a godsend, and that saved 20,000 teachers' jobs in Florida. And I think most of us remember in 2009 when President Obama came to Florida to visit, and our next speaker gave a very special and poignant hug between President Obama and himself, and it was an image that traveled around the world. Back when parties could work together and there was really an across the aisle. So, come again to 2016. Our next speaker ran for a congressional district, and this is amazing. I can't even believe this. For the first time from 1955 until 2016, a Democrat was elected to Congressional District 13. Amazing. So Congressman Crist is a member of the Congressional Equality Caucus. Since he was first elected to Congress, he received a 100% score from the Human Rights Campaign. He's vice chair of the Congressional Equality Caucus. And he has co-sponsored the following legislation. And bear with me because it's a bit of a list, okay? Amend the Code for Marriage Equality Act. Armed Forces Transgender Dependent Protection Act, the Do No Harm Act, the Equality Act, the John Lewis Every Child Deserves a Family Act, the Gay and Trans Panic Defense and Prohibition Act, the Global Respect Act, the GLOBE Act, the Juror Non-Discrimination Act, LGBTQ Equality Day, LGBTQIA Pride Month, National Honor Our LGBTQ Elders Day, Prohibition of Medical Funded Conversion Therapy Act, Safe Schools Improvement Act, which actually works to address bullying in our schools, and Transgender Day of Remembrance. So if you have the pleasure of stopping by Congressman Crist's office in DC, he will likely offer you some fresh Florida orange juice. He has a pink flamingo outside the front door. And he has this flag outside his door, okay? So there's no question from the halls of Congress where this congressman stands. Also, if you know Congressman Crist, as long as I've known him, he has a bracelet right like this that says, "Practice the Golden Rule." So it is my extreme pleasure to introduce our former governor and my congressman, Charlie Crist.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Susan. Madam Chair, as I refer to her, Susan's an amazing woman, a dear friend, and it's truly an honor to be here with all of you tonight. Nadine, congratulations on your award. Val, my colleague in the United States House, it's great to see you in my hometown of St. Petersburg. I love you. Your next senator, by the way. There's a lot of really good things we can do in 22 in Florida. That's one of them. Another one is we can get rid of Governor Ron DeSantis. I want to thank each and every one of you, though, for your courage and your strength and your tenacity. And in talking about Nadine, in a incredible introduction, by the way, it was laid out that she's at a crossroads of three different places. And, you know, we are all different and we are all alike. I'm a grandson of a Greek immigrant. My grandfather, Adam Christodoulos, Sagapo, which means I love you in Greek. And I am the grandson of a Lebanese American, my grandmother, both on my father's side. And we're a melting pot, the United States of America. And we had a great president who was fond of saying, and correct in doing so, that we're not the red states of America. We are not the blue states of America. We are the United States of America. President Obama. And as I look around this room and I see all of you, like Nadine said, you give me hope, Al. Thank you for sponsoring tonight, and thank you for covering this issue and these issues so well. When we have a legislature and a governor that are pushing a bill to don't say gay, I mean, it's shocking. Where are we? It is so disturbing to me when we have a governor who signs legislation that says that trans kids can't participate in sports in Florida schools. Where are we? That's not our Florida. That's not your Florida. When we have a governor who almost 5 years to the day after the Pulse nightclub nightmare vetoed legislation and funding for the family members of the 49 angels who died that day, where are we? And that was passed in a bipartisan way. My friends, that does not represent Florida. That does not speak to the better angels among us. That is exactly what's wrong, and we're exactly about what's right. Honest to God. And he's here. And I don't mean to get religious on you, but I'm going to shoot you straight about how I feel, about what I believe is important from listening to you, from listening to Susan, and Nadine, and Val, and so many of you. Alfredo, who's up here from Broward County, and I just got to have dinner with him last Thursday. We're getting around the state a lot. It's important. Because you deserve better, my friends. You don't deserve to have an administration that is hateful. You know, I've told friends, Val, that it's almost as though the governor goes to sleep every night thinking about what group can I tear down tomorrow. LGBTQ, women, take away their right to choose. Seniors, make it harder for them to vote by taking away and making it hard to do mail-in ballots. My 89-year-old father, my 87-year-old mother love to utilize mail-in balloting. I do too. No, we deserve better. You deserve better. I am running for governor because I love Florida, I love you, and it breaks my heart to see what this governor is doing to us. He is the divider in chief. I would like to be your uniting governor again. I would like you to have a governor again that has a heart, that cares about you every day. Because right now, my assessment, we have a governor who is more concerned about 2024. And what does that mean to us? He's more concerned about Iowa voters than he is about Florida people. And that's just a fact. He doesn't understand that to be a true public servant and serve with a servant's heart, that you're supposed to wake up every day thinking about you, not about yourself. And I know we can do it. I got a primary in August. I asked for your help. I'm running against two fine people. God willing, we'll get through that. And then it's about 8.5 months until we get to November the 8th. So hold on, my friends. That's not long. Imagine the morning of November 9th, and we have a Senator, Val Demings, and a Governor, Charlie Crist. God bless you and thank you.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and Rick Scott has released, well, no, I won't tell the other joke, has released his own, his 31-page dissertation or manifesto, right, on why America is being destroyed, offers 11 policy points he would like to introduce. They not only include standard GOP talking points like decentralizing the U.S. government, but also some forays into pandering to the far right with social issues. Such policies include forcing students to say the Pledge of Allegiance and stand for the national anthem because we must foster national unity. That's a quote. They will also be taught that they must love America, and they'll be forced to, and that no class of people have been oppressed. And we'll educate that. He also insists that the government will finish the southern border wall, and you guessed it, we're going to name it after Donald Trump. He also vows to protect the American family, and part of that protection is by requiring all government agencies to only recognize binary genders and disallow people from transitioning completely because, quote, humans are born male and female. There are only two genders, and to deny that is to deny science, end quote. That's called gaslighting. Apparently, the GOP continues to not understand that science has shown that there are a minimum of 6 combinations of X and Y chromosomes that can exist in adults. Our friend Lord Baltimore.
I thought this was a joke. When I first read this, I was like, okay, this is some kind of meme or something like that. You know, Rick Scott, the same guy who used Medicare fraud to build his political empire, and he's doing something like this, and people are listening. People are actually listening to these 11 points like as, okay, yeah, let's do it. That's disgusting.
And like Al said, we were jumped in at the same time. It's a manifesto.
Yeah.
It's not as dealing with reality at all. It's all back to that fake news. You know, science is science, and the fact that he's making these outright statements as if they're fact is just frightening.
Glenn, but people listen.
Well, that's what's so frightening about this.
And anybody who sees, you know, one or the other, and that's a GOP go-to, and it's kind of a natural human default. But anyone who refuses to see that there's more than A and B, it's the sign of a small mind. And national indoctrination is what it is. I mean, not national unity.
I'm curious, do you all think him declaring a GOP manifesto will be successful for him and for the GOP?
You know, we talked a little bit about this last night. You know, it's scary that people believe what they hear and don't do their own research or choose not to listen at all, so they don't know what's going on. We talked about the Don't Say Gay bill yesterday and how many people, shockingly, know nothing about the bill that's out there. And so if it passes, it may only be because we didn't speak up.
Just imagine that person in middle America just looking at a commercial that's saying, oh, okay, we have to get America back.
Right.
America's in a bad condition. All right, let's follow what he says, and they'll take his crap for fact.
Right. Well, and I don't think this is really going to gain that much traction, to be honest. He's not a national figure on the scale of like Governor DeSantis or Mitch McConnell. And it's not like, if you can remember, Newt Gingrich's 12 points to save America back in 1994. I just don't think it's going to get that much attention beyond this. And there's a reason, is that Mitch McConnell has not released his own plan, is because he doesn't have to. Midterms favor the minority, the out of power party. He doesn't need to, and I don't think he wants Rick Scott to say anything. I think he just wants to let the natural course of politics happen and restore the GOP to at least a majority in the House this fall.
You know, it's interesting. What do you think about the observation that Governor or former Governor Senator Scott, that our time that we've been going through in the last couple of years and that we're going through certainly right now is like the 1930s. And Adolf Hitler in 1932 was very much like Rick Scott. He wasn't the dominant voice. Over the next 5 years, he did become the dominant voice. And then when he became the powerful dominant voice, then all hell broke loose. I mean, what do you think about that? In that maybe Scott isn't DeSantis right now, but he's pitching to try to become that. What do you think about that?
Pitching to become DeSantis?
Well, like to become president, to run for president?
To become, maybe, philosophically, Adolf Hitler, because he's advocating, for example, what's wrong with doing the Pledge of Allegiance until you make it mandatory? And the next logical beachhead of this manifesto is, well, how are you going to punish somebody for not doing it in school? We're going to figure out a way to punish it. And that's a logical, oh, well, you should love America and you should be proud of America, so you should say the Pledge of Allegiance and sing the national anthem until you don't. And then the crazy becomes the crazy because they make you do it or they punish you. That's how it worked in 1932. That's how Adolf Hitler did it with the Jews.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm 100% in the same ballpark as you. We talked about this before. It's chipping away slowly until it's not that big a deal. You look at Ukraine right now. You know, they're supposedly not attacking all of Ukraine. They're just taking, Crimea or whatever, any of those little pieces. And so it's not that big a deal until you take a bigger chunk. And the same thing goes here when it comes to rights. You take away one, and what's the big deal to take away another? Let's not talk about it in school, so they're now not educated. So now we go back to sexual health. You're not taught about sexual health, you have an increase in HIV and AIDS. All those things have an increase and very powerful reaction to a decision that's made. It isn't just, oh, it's no big deal.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth